sometimes on another show that we do
Yeah.
called Co-Videos,
Yes.
we start and there's no topic. There's nothing. There's no intro.
No intro. That's our intro. No
It's kind of
intro.
how this feels.
Because we're live,
Unless
or
there's a current topic, pop culture that you want to talk about. Because we're live? I hope we're live.
no, yeah, gosh, not really, unless we want to talk about who's passed, which seems like that's another way that we like to start our show. Maybe not like is the right way, but
I guess so.
But
I guess so. I was hoping to hold off on
okay,
it, but
all
yeah,
right.
I guess that's where we are.
yeah.
You tell us who's passed. I can't. It's too
All right.
much for me.
Sir Sean Connery has passed away at the age of 90.
Yeah.
Which is that's a pretty good run.
That's
I
you know.
have to say.
Let's stop saying that
Okay.
because it
Let's
isn't
retire
given.
that.
It's given to all men to die, and it's given to no
And
one
women.
to rate. But
Yeah.
I'm talking. This is a quotation from
All right.
from antiquity.
Sure.
Is that from the Bible? It's
I
going
don't
well
know
so
the
far.
answer
It's
to
going
that.
so good so
Oh
far.
my gosh.
And it's given to no one to rate somebody's life and
Fair.
existence, right?
Yes. Yes.
Unless you want to put it on your gravestone or whatever, right?
a pretty good run.
Yeah.
No.
Wasn't
no,
it Shakespeare's
I don't.
gravestone is like, yeah, that was okay. But like the key focus is don't move my bones, and it's like what are you gonna where are you gonna move them for construction?
Like,
I found out the other day. A friend of
yeah.
mine told me the other day that there's a city near us.
Yes.
I always wonder about the details. Let's not say what the city is, but anyway, there's a city, and it's like it's just a place where people live. But in like the early 1800s, maybe in the mid 1800s, just because of settlement, it was a cemetery, and there are no cemeteries there now. It's all houses. I've been to my
Yep.
friend's house many, many, many times.
Yeah.
We got a poltergeist situation going on here.
Yeah, I know.
That's exactly what that is.
Yeah, right.
And knowing where we live, it's going to be just like poltergeist, right?
Yep.
Oh my God, all these white people are mad because you built a mall on top of them and they're missing all the deals.
I know, right? That's kind of terrifying.
So
though.
Sean Connery.
Yeah, so Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Um,
died on Halloween.
I know.
I'm so sick of all the
What if-
memes that I've seen where everybody's posting the Jeopardy stuff, and it's like, that's your, you sweet summer children. That's your interface with Sean Connery?
Yeah, I hope that's not your only.
What
interface
about
with
Darby
Sean
O'Gill and the Little People? And this is how young.
What about Zardoz?
What about You're the Man Now, dog? It's not even that. So it's like, how old are you?
I know. What if your costume was a Sean Connery character for Halloween this year, and then he died on Halloween? That'd be pretty sad.
What? Well, there's got to be some James Bonds out there.
Oh, I'm
right?
sure.
Otherwise,
I'm sure.
what are you thinking?
Zardoz.
Yeah.
Although, I gotta say, unless you live in a pretty warm place, that's gonna be a very chilly.
Or you could do like an
Halloween
Indiana
costume.
Jones and
Yeah.
Professor Jones
Right.
father-son costume or mother-daughter costume. Let me see it, folks. Send it in. At Just Enough Trump on Twitter. Yeah, he is... I don't think he ever won any awards himself, but the films that he was in won a lot of awards. Do you have a favorite film of his?
Gosh. Well, Zardoz is pretty iconic, but probably one of his Bond films, maybe.
No, you don't get to you're not picking a random film. You're picking your favorite film.
I know.
You're like, oh, let's see. Let's just pull up his Bond films, which if I had let you keep going, you would have failed. And then...
With Russia with Love.
What's it called?
From Russia with
Okay,
Love.
so anyway, you would have failed. And really, that's your favorite?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Why? You
Well,
judging me?
No, I like that one too. It's no Marnie, but Marnie's okay.
What's your favorite Sean
Probably
Connery film?
Goldfinger.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Although I do like From Russia with Love though as well.
Yes. It's a good one.
But Goldfinger is pretty classic.
Wasn't like
Untouchables is pretty good.
I haven't seen that.
Highlander?
Oh, Highlander. That's
Actually,
a good one.
This is such a movie nerd thing. It can't be your favorite, or you just got to go. But I really like A Bridge Too Far, and I've had that on my list to watch on co-videos for a while. You have to cut out 3.5 hours of your life because it's a very long movie. But maybe maybe we'll do that one. And then I suggested earlier, Diane, we did it again.
What?
We did it again. We killed another celebrity. Because I suggested at the beginning of the week, before we decided on our movie for today, that we watch In the Name of the Rose.
You did.
And
That's
you're like,
right.
How's that Halloween? And I'm like, it's scary, but we knew that we would be recording on All Saints Day and not All Hallows Eve. So we thought we'd try to split the difference and have a scary religious movie.
Yeah, right. And I have seen that movie before, but yeah, I know.
So the Grim Reaper had a coin with Christian Slater on one side and Sean Connery on the other, and just flipped it. He died in the Bahamas, in Nassau, so very Bondian. And as far as, I'll bring back a little bit of that. Okay, you can see he had a good run, because that's a nice place to pass away.
Yeah. I've never been to the Bahamas, but I hear it's beautiful.
Okay. Keeping it media focused.
All right.
We are the Just Enough Trope podcast. I'm your host, Caliban, joined as always by my co-host.
Hi, I'm Mikan Hana.
We bring you all the news that's fit to cast in the world of nerdy entertainment, and today that includes weather. He just, he's a man of the sexiest man alive. He actually voted the sexiest man of the century at the end of the 20th century by People magazine. Obviously a big Scots hero. And yeah, he said to Barbara Walters that he's okay with hitting women.
Yeah, and I read in another article that he apparently said that same thing like decades prior in like
that's what Barbara Walters was
asking about.
Yeah, I think it was a Playboy interview.
Yeah, which is awesome.
So,
but whatever.
And his first wife, Diane Clianto, he was married to for 11 years, and she had an autobiography. She was an actress herself, and in it she claimed that he was physically and mentally abusive to her.
Yeah,
so,
which is not great.
Right. Believe women, but one autobiography from his ex-wife, and then something he said in Playboy magazine, that's it. We don't have any film of him doing anything. No one else has ever said anything. I'm not saying that he is innocent, but I've seen a lot of people, as we like to do in the left, immediately go, yeah, screw that guy. Good. Dad, I hope God hits him when he gets to heaven and then sends him to hell. And I'm just saying, hey, I guess mourn however you need to, but it's like one thing that he said. I know. Which I'm sure that he regrets. And when I just sit here and it's not a discussion between two people, I become the guy who is just defending a wife beater, allegedly.
I think he probably did hit his wife, don't you? I mean,
I don't know. And it's not, once again, just as it's not my place to say whether or not he, had a good run, it's not my place to brand him a wife beater. I don't know.
It doesn't look good. Let me just put it.
It doesn't. But what is this? We got to get past this judgment thing that we've got going on, don't we?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that he was definitely a great actor and he was very iconic and everything like that.
Here comes a but.
I'm just saying
You're just saying that you don't know what happened behind closed doors, and so you want to call him a piece of shit.
No, I didn't say that.
I don't know if he's a piece of shit or not. I mean, he was certainly a very grumpy guy. I've heard a lot of stories about that. Anecdotes, they're sometimes called, if your brain's working right. And, I don't know. I mean, I'm just playing devil's advocate here.
Yeah, I get it. I understand what you're doing.
But I mean, we're not having a discussion though. So I like the fact that he's been making films from 1954 to 2003. Yeah.
That film, the You're the Man Now Dog, what was that film called?
Finding Forrester.
Wasn't that the last film he did?
No,
I think it was one of the last.
LXG was the last film that he did.
Oh, really? Leave Extraordinary Gentleman?
Yeah.
That was it, huh? I know he
And
did
then
not have a great experience filming that, from what I've heard.
He did not.
No.
And then he did some voice roles in 2012.
Oh.
Came back briefly.
Interesting.
To do a movie called Sir Billy that nobody's
heard of.
Ever heard of.
All right.
It's an computer animated movie. Characters look like the general from the commercials.
Oh no, yeah. That's not good. That's not a good thing. I don't know. I don't want to condemn him. I just don't really know what to say. I don't want to like completely defend him either.
Well, you're not.
You know
nobody.
what I mean?
No, you haven't been. You haven't been, and nobody would expect you to. That's not the position that you've taken.
Yeah.
I am taking it in order to spark a discussion that's not happening, but nobody would blame you. But you feel like you have to publicly spit on a man whose life you know nothing about just to what? ...
I'm not publicly spitting. I'm just saying we need to believe women. I'm saying that is a thing that we need to do.
We do too, but the woman's dead.
I know.
35 years dead.
Uh-huh.
And 45 years dead.
Okay.
And he's dead too.
Yeah, I know. So what is the point?
What's the point in your first take on Sean Connery dying being like, what a piece of shit?
That wasn't my first take.
One's first take.
Oh, I think I don't know. I think that people feel like we can't completely praise somebody who has something kind of negative.
I think they're performing.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay. Like, what is the point of performing in that? Like saying, well, but he was not that great of a guy. What is the point of it?
I don't know. That it's a thing that happens now. It probably happened on a smaller, less transmittable scale before the internet, but now it's
with the internet.
Now it's the internet, and so your only first and only opinion on a guy who made many, many movies that made you and probably a lot of other people happy. Your first take has to be the piece of shit wife beater, and it's like you don't know that.
Right.
I'm not going to be satisfied by this conversation that we're having in front of other people.
Okay,
so. But I mean, that's what we try to do.
What would satisfy you?
For you to have a cool take, for you to vehemently disagree with me, for you to just bring anything so we could provide entertainment, like we could fight and have an entertaining fight because this is all live. There's no I just cut this out if we were not live, but it's all on tape now.
I'm sorry. I don't know what I don't
you got to come ready for anything.
I feel like I do.
No, you never do. You never do.
I don't think that's fair.
Okay, well, it's show business. We'll have it off the air. But anyway, Sean Connery, apparently a man with a contentious life. This is our contentious tribute to that life. Now, come over here, and I'll just give you a little, and then everything's back to normal.
Stop it. Not funny.
It was a little bit funny.
Mm-mm.
Okay. If it was a little bit funny.
No, it wasn't.
Okay. All right.
You can keep trying, and I'll keep disagreeing with you.
You keep being wrong. So anyway, we're talking about a feminist film today. Thank God. Hopefully it will cover over everything that I just did. And it's a film that is... do you feel like it's still remembered?
Yeah, I do.
Who'd you
at
talk
least
to
in
that
cult
said,
circles.
I remember that, cult circles. I don't think it is.
Wow. Well, when you put it that way, I don't know. I feel like I hear people talk about it, but maybe that's just because I like it personally. I don't know. Rosemary's Ladies just did a show on it. That's the first thing that I could think of.
I didn't recently for this month.
I don't know if it was this month or not, but didn't they recently do one? I thought they did. I don't know. This is great. This is great.
This is what I'm talking about.
Oh, shush.
This is what I'm talking about.
Shush.
I don't believe everything that I say, but I come. Here's a little podcasting clinic for anybody listening. But I come ready to maintain a position, to provide a rock or a hard place that the rock can bounce off of.
Right.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But if we're both just the thing that bugs me the most in podcasts is when it's just like, well, it's our podcast. Yeah, let's do. What are we talking about? Oh, we're talking about bananas and pajamas. Oh, bananas and pajamas. Or is it bananas and pajamas or is it Bananarama? No. Bananarama is a band from.
Oh my God! Stop.
The 80s. Yeah. Remember that? I'm just describing our show, I think.
Wow.
But anyway, it's just like when it's just like me and then you're there. That's I don't like that.
Please stop it. I'm more than just here. Okay, I am.
Okay. So anyway, I asked you if.
I don't know because I
okay,
feel
but then
like
I don't know. You clearly you haven't examined your opinion on it because you're kind of coming to the realization that you don't know. And my original premise, which maybe I should have stated instead of trying to get you involved in the show, was I don't think people remember this movie much.
Okay. I don't.
Great. My fingers is hovering over the abort button.
Please stop it.
Go off the air.
I don't know. I'm feeling really frustrated.
I can tell.
I thought that the people were talking about it. I thought that it was. I've seen people talk about it online. I've seen people say, "Oh yes, ginger snaps. I love ginger snaps." I don't know if we've said the title before. But we're talking about ginger snaps.
Safe to say your position is people remember it. My position is that they don't unless they are over 35. Or
well, I could see
are
that.
a dedicated horror and scary movie podcast that goes searching for movies to talk about.
Well, it's
their podcast.
It's a cult classic. It's not necessarily.
I don't like that term.
Okay.
How
would you?
How does that term
categorize
even
it?
apply anymore? Because a movie like a movie about a scary doll would in any other era of human existence, I guess it'd have to be within the invention of cinema, would have been a cult classic. It would have been. Remember that doll movie? You know, she's like she's a doll, and I don't know what happens in Annabelle, but
I don't either.
She's a doll.
Yeah.
It's like an Aaron Mankey episode of Lore.
Right.
Every time we sit down to record. I'm already recording, and then my alarm goes off and said, "You should record." I'm like, "I don't know, I'm recording. I know."
I got this.
So that should serve as the thing that just says "move on," right? But anyway, I don't think it is because if it had come out today, yeah, there'd be 8 of them, and some of them would be VOD or Netflix, a Netflix property. But I don't think so.
Okay. Well, why do you feel that way?
Because I haven't seen people talk about it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, that's too bad because I think it is a really interesting film.
Yeah, all right. We don't have to give your review. See, it's look, you want to be part of the show, you got to jump in. Otherwise, I'm just going to do my thing. Dead air.
I'm trying to jump in.
I'm more frustrated than you are, believe it or not.
We'll
and yet,
see.
I'm pushing the show forward. So we're talking about ginger snaps, and that's all we're going to say. If you don't know it, just keep listening. If you do know it, I guess keep listening.
Yep.
But chances are you don't know it. Anything else before we talk about the news?
I cannot think of anything else right now. Do you have anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I want to talk about something. Otherwise, it seems kind of dumb that I would just throw to you. I swear to God, it doesn't. Our non-live shows are much better than this. They don't go this poorly.
I'm
It's
sorry.
like we're trying to keep lowering the bar. Like last week was terrible. That was one of our worst shows ever. And I think we finally, we started off defending wife beaters, and here we are, unable to get to the news. I felt like I was ready to come and show up and be here, and I don't know what's going on with me today. What do you think is going on?
I don't know. I'm trying to work through it. So
let's dig into it. It's more interesting than hearing which theaters have shut down, as far as I'm concerned. Probably the audience too.
I really don't. I don't know.
You can't say I don't know. That's not an and. You have to, yes, and then and.
I'm just not in a good mood, I think.
Yeah, but why?
Because I'm too busy.
What are you busy with?
With all of our podcasts.
Okay, well, you could turn that into an opportunity to promote some of them.
We have.
No, you don't have to just list them. Like, talk about what you're busily working on as far as those podcasts go. I'm gonna get a show out of you tonight.
I'm working on our next Sailor Noob episode that we'll be recording shortly, and doing research on that kind of stuff for that show.
How does that process work?
Well, first I have to figure out, basically based on the episode that we watch, what's something within Japanese culture that we can talk about for that episode. And a lot of times I talk with you to kind of make sure we're on the same page as far as all that goes.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
I do.
No, you handle it capably all by yourself. We rarely talk about the subject for the cultural examination.
Okay, well, then I just like Google is my best friend or my worst enemy, however you want to look at it, because you can go down a path, and sometimes you go down a path and it's like not the right path, and then you have to backtrack, and and you want to go more than one page deep on something. You want to Google more than one thing.
What if you had to, like, we've all been down a wiki wormhole or something like that. What if it took the exact amount of time to get out of it that it did to get in, like you were climbing into a real hole? So you're 45 minutes into reading about Ferris wheels in Japan, and you're like, this ain't it.
Right.
Well, I don't want to get the bends. Time for the decompression. And then it takes you like 45 minutes
to decompress.
You have to like read everything backwards.
That would be a challenge.
No, I don't mean decompress like, in your life, like I'm trying to do with you right now because you're all freaked out. I mean like, nitrogen bubbles in your blood.
Sure. Yeah. Right. Like a decompression tank or something like that, like astronauts or something. Right?
That's more like an isolation quarantine type situation.
Oh, okay. Maybe I don't know what you're talking about then.
When you?
What?
We're not doing news. We're just going to go right into the movie.
Okay.
This is more fun. When not you, because I know you means you. When divers go down and they go very far down, the pressure from the pressure that they experience and the pressure that needs to be put on them to equalize with the deep sea, it causes the nitrogen in regular air. Remember, air is 3/4 nitrogen and 1/4 oxygen.
Okay.
It causes it to dissolve because, the properties of things change, in different environments, pressures. And so when you get nitrogen into your bloodstream, like more than normal, then when you come up, the pressure is, lessens, and the nitrogen turns back into sublimation. If it could, it evaporates. It turns into bubbles in your blood, and when you have bubbles in your blood,
that seems bad.
This is bad news.
Yeah,
because blood can go through a capillary, but bubble they don't go through so well.
No,
and so you get all kinds of weird problems. You get the bends.
Sure. Okay. All right.
So sometimes deep sea divers, they have to come up slowly to allow the nitrogen to dissolve or to re-liquefy or wait, what's it doing again? I just said evaporate or whatever.
Right.
Be released from their blood at a rate that they can handle. It's
a
not
regular
all
interval.
Once.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Like, aren't there decompression tanks that people can go into?
To tie this back into pop culture, so we remain somewhat relevant.
Yeah.
There's a movie called Sphere, which is based on a Michael Crichton novel of the same name. And in that book, they go to a deep sea habitat underwater, and they require a long period of a pressurization. So they are there, and the pressure is higher than normal, but not as bad as the outside. And I think that's for the stability of the habitat. Like it gets crushed like a can, but you want to have some pressure pushing back, and the human body can handle that.
Right.
And because of the nitrogen problem, in order to kind of skip that, I think they replaced the nitrogen with helium.
Okay.
Which is inert. And because of that, everybody talks like Mickey Mouse.
Okay,
but
sure.
they get
Yeah,
these
right.
things that they can wear, like I don't smoke, Sonny, like type thing that makes their voices, somewhat more normal.
Deeper or whatever. Yeah. Okay. Weird.
And then the end of the film is the resolution of the film takes place in a decompression chamber because they were forced to come up quickly at the end of the film. So they go into this chamber.
I've never seen it. Is it worth watching?
We've talked about it on the show before.
Have we?
We've talked about. You've asked me if it's any good, and I
okay. Sorry, I don't remember that.
Like a lot of Crichton's books, it's written very cinematically. Like you read it and you go, "This would make a good movie," and then they made a movie with Dustin Hoffman and Sharon Stone. It's like this wasn't a good movie.
Didn't you tell me that he didn't start out writing books that way, but then with big hits that like Jurassic Park and stuff like that.
I don't know what his first book
like
was. I know a very early book was The Eaters of the Dead, which was turned into a film called The 13th Warrior.
Okay.
And it is not true, but it is purported to be the translation of an experience of a guy, a Muslim scholar who fell in with some Vikings, and they had this. They went on this quest that involved a Grendel-like creature, and it's a retelling of Grendel basically, but with like an Arab there for some reason. And it's
interesting.
And the fiction of it is, you can look up and see that it's not true, but the book is like, oh, this is real. This happened.
This is a real thing. Okay, interesting.
And it's very cinematic. I think it's like in 1982 it came out, but it's a very cinematic book.
Well,
I read
that's
a lot
just
of his
kind
books.
of the way
I was a big
that
Crichton head.
He wrote
when I was young.
Okay, sure. Well, he was a very, I think,
tall man. Yes.
Very.
Oh, what?
No, I was going to say very popular author.
Oh, popular
author. That's what I was going to say. Yeah.
And did he write? No, Robin Cook wrote Coma, but he did. Did he direct the film? I thought he was involved with Coma in some way, but it doesn't matter.
I'm not familiar with that.
That kind of like pop science,
sure.
Crichton-esque book was really popular back then. I mean, they're popular now, but
yeah, right.
That was a cult thing. That was a genre.
All right. Okay. All right. Well, would you what is a would you say Crichton-esque to describe something that's like him or something like that?
I don't know. There's so many different genres, and every time that I interview an author, they operate in some different genre now. So,
I'm sure it's part of selling their work and everything, and
but
working
what would you
with
call...
an agent and stuff like that. This is what you don't think so?
Thanks for translating my looks for the people at home.
Sure.
You have so little confidence in your statement that one look from me and you didn't even finish it.
Yeah.
Remember, people are listening to you. So
I know that.
Yeah.
But if I had a wall in front of me instead of looking at your face,
I don't know.
That would be a weird experience.
Clearly, some authors deal with the pressure to genre something, to make it a genre. But I spoke with an author named Cassandra Rose Clark recently, and one of her books is, I'm going to look it up because if I'm talking about it, I should plug it. But I'll describe it while I'm looking it up.
Sure.
And we'll get there eventually. But it takes place in a domed city in Antarctica,
right.
And it is an Argentine colony, and this takes place, I think, in possibly an alternate reality, possibly like a near future. And a female PI is running afoul of the City of God-esque gangs that sort of
right.
have divvied the place up. And this all takes place over the backdrop of an android revolution. The androids are tired of you telling them what to do and having to work.
Right.
And so
being
they are
android slaves, right?
Yeah. And so and also the big problem is we have to keep the steam running, otherwise the colony will freeze. So an editor hears that and goes, "Steampunk?" right?
Yeah.
Or else she has a book about magic pirates who fight like krakens and monsters and things like
Okay,
that. And
sure,
so, I mean,
yeah.
And I asked her, like, did you ever feel pressured, like, by an editor or a publishing company to, like, can we get just a romance this time? Or can we just get like a space book, just a space opera? And she's like, no. I bring them stuff and they go, oh, great. And
That's
I'm like,
cool.
But they don't ever go like, geez, what do we even do with this one? Her stuff is kind of, well, it's not kind of YA. Some of it really is YA. I think anybody can read it. And so I'm not even sure how that works. That puts a whole new thing on it.
Sure.
Or doesn't. I don't know. But she said, no, this is fine. And she's, she's not like a household name, but she operates, at sort of a average sort of level, I think, of exposure. And so no, I don't think that that's necessarily a problem. I think that,
Okay.
I don't know if it's, publishing print is supposed to be dead. And I think that books and the book industry are bigger and more active than ever. Whether that translates to any real value for the creator, I don't know. I know 24 authors and none of them have like a boat. So I don't.
Right.
So I don't.
Right.
I don't think that it necessarily means you're getting rich, but
No, not necessarily. Well, it's interesting too. Like most of the books that I read are like ebooks, but I do know quite a few people who like, they really love the physical books, and they So,
But that's what we're talking about, though.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Sounds good.
oh, that's the cue. That's the cue to move on.
Yeah. Let's kick it into gear and move out of talking about book genres into a film genre. I tried to make it work there. I don't think I really did.
There's a nail in the door and there's glass on the lawn, tacks on the floor and the TV is on. And I always sleep with my guns when you're gone. There's a blade by the bed and a phone in my hand, a dog on the floor and some cash on the nightstand.
Okay, let's talk about Ginger Snaps, which, I came down pretty hard on it not being quite so well remembered, but I'm sure every Halloween around the podcast fires, is that even a thing?
Sure.
Amongst the right podcast, it's probably talked about a lot.
Yeah.
But
Talked about fondly, I would hope.
if you had to what? Is this the last Just Enough Trope episode? Stay tuned to find out.
Stop.
Play along. It's fun if you play along.
Okay.
Say, I'm going to call my agent. Get my agent on the phone.
Get my agent on the phone.
All right, now we'll clip that all together. Oh, wait, this is live. What genre is this film?
I think it's horror.
Well, yeah.
Yeah. Teen drama. I don't know what genre do you think it is?
There isn't any right. There's no right answer to any question that I ask.
I think it's horror. That's what I think it is.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that it fits into more than one.
I mean, maybe
genre.
it's sci-fi a little bit.
I think that
too.
coming of age is a genre, and I think that this
Okay,
fits
sure.
into this.
Yeah.
I think it's a comedy film. I think it's a Canadian film.
I don't know if that counts as a genre, but sure.
I think it's an Ontarian film, if that's a thing.
Okay.
Yeah, right. Like it busts genres. Is my point.
Sure. Yes. I definitely would agree with the coming of age.
So there were, depending on how you look at it, multiple right answers.
Yeah.
Or it was a trick question.
Yes. It could be a trick question.
All right. Like, speaking of wolves and dogs, I feel like I just, dragging the dog along on the leash, the tiny dog, short legs.
Oh, great.
This is 108 minutes, and I feel like it feels exactly perfectly long. Except for...
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk about it in a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2000 film, like we said before. There is actually an interesting story, and I don't know where this information comes from.
Okay.
Possibly from magazines, interviews done in the wake of the release of the film, because it's such a cult hit. So therefore, people want to know about it.
Okay.
But it was a Canadian film, and like a lot of Canadian films, you can get some money from the government to make the movie, and they had done that. They were working with Canadian telefilm to get money for the film. They set up U.S. distribution.
Yes,
they are all ready to go, and then I guess Canada has a deadline for signing up for money,
getting
and
enough
so
money.
they missed that deadline, and they're like, oh, nuts. So do we go through with half the budget, or what do we do? And they got hooked up with Lionsgate,
there you go.
which helped them out and finished out the rest of the budget. They tried to cast the movie, easy to do in LA, tough to do in Canada, because as they approached Canadian casting agents and offices, they were horrified at the subject matter and the gore and blood that was promised to be in the film.
I read something about that too, but what I want to know is, are there not a lot of horror films
Canadian horror films
in Canada? Yeah, or did they just find this particular subject matter to be horrifying?
Jason's not Canadian?
I don't know.
It's a joke.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry about it. So tell us what happens in Ginger Snaps.
Yeah. So it takes place in a small town. I don't know if they say where. Anyways,
Bailey Downs. It's very specifically many times. It's called Bailey Downs.
Bailey Downs, and it follows these two sisters who are obsessed with death. They apparently made a pact when they were 8 that out by 16, like they were going to get out of this town by the time they were 16, or they were going to kill themselves.
Out by 16 and dead in the scene.
Yes.
But together forever.
Right. Very early on in the movie, so it's Ginger and Bridget, or is it Brigitte? B. Anyways, Ginger and B are out. They're going to play a prank on a girl who's been mean to B. And Ginger gets her period for the first time and gets attacked by a werewolf. And she gets bitten or clawed or something like that, and she starts to change. And so B basically is trying to help her sister throughout the film and trying to figure out a way to revert this, her turning into a werewolf and get her to be human again. And she's helped by this guy, Sam, who happens to be a drug addict, or not a drug addict, a drug dealer. But he has a greenhouse and he knows a lot. Yeah, weed. And he knows a lot about plants.
Weed's not, well, it's year 2000. Weed's got to be legal in Canada by now.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's like the basic, and you know, it's high school, so there's kids that are mean to them, and they're dealing with like whether or not they want to have sex and that sort of thing and everything too. And yeah, and then of course their parents are a big part of the story as well, especially their mom.
What'd you come up with? I don't know. I mean, it would feel good, but there's a lot of responsibility that comes with it. That's what I came up with too. Yeah, I don't know. They're like dealing with whether they're going to have sex.
All right, okay. Well, like dealing with, maybe that's not the right way of putting it. Like their burgeoning sexuality. Let me put it that way.
Whoa, it's not a boner comedy.
Yeah, I know. Words are not my forte right now.
Which base do they call it? I don't know.
What
probably warm Alpo, whatever. I don't even have the energy to make the joke.
Okay.
Let's dive right in, and by dive in, let's immediately just dive into the fake kiddie pool. This is the painted on road that the Wile E. Coyote wants the roadrunner to run into.
Okay.
We'll just run into that, but we're going to go through it.
Uh-huh.
And the guy's going to be like, what? How do you do that? And then he's going to run into that. He hits the wall. Oh, no. You painted it, idiot. At that, it's about menstruation.
Yes. Yes, it is.
That's the tired.
And...
We're going to go for the wired take later. Mm-hmm. And I think we can do our diligence to say that, I mean, you said something after we watched it, and I know you've seen it before, but maybe you hadn't thought about this. Where you're like, oh, man, it's like nobody's ever done anything like with that before. About the moon. And the
female werewolves
werewolf,
and menstruation and 28 days.
Yeah. And getting mean and clawing at people. No, I don't know. It's the year 2000. PMS jokes are still work.
Right.
And it's like, I mean, people were really impressed with that at the time. I'm not saying I'm not impressed now, but then I think, well, I mean, like Teen Wolf is about.
Well, I mean,
that's what Teen Wolf is, right?
It's about transformation, right? Becoming a werewolf with a full moon. Transformation, puberty is a transformation from being a kid to an adult. So yeah. I get it. It's there. It makes sense.
Nobody ever. You think that like 19? Oh, maybe we could look through old VHS tapes or Jim Carrey movies or something like that. Maybe somebody did a female werewolf movie like right after Teen Wolf, but like 1985, it's like. Oh, okay, right. He's playing basketball. He's got hair in unexpected places. Right. Let's do a girl one. Why don't we do a girl one? Right. Nobody ever did. Nobody for like 15 years.
That's why I was like, why didn't that happen? You know, and yeah, I guess I just hadn't really thought about it before.
And thank God that they didn't, because it meant that Ginger Snaps had the field hockey field, wide open to them when the time came. And that came in the form of Karen Walton and John Fawcett. John Fawcett directed it. Karen Walton, and he has a story credit, but she wrote the script.
Yes.
And it's, as you pointed out, which I hadn't even thought of, but they went on to work on Orphan Black.
Yes.
Which was co-created by John Fawcett, but Karen Wilson did write a couple episodes for Orphan Black.
Yes.
And I guess that fits and that makes sense. Why the guy went on to tell the very personal story of a woman and the many other women that she is, and not Karen Walton being in the driver's seat on that one? I don't know.
I don't know either.
I don't know the answer.
I don't know the answer.
And
either.
honestly, Karen Walton didn't write a whole lot after this. Didn't have a ton of credits.
Okay.
Which is too bad because this is like right on. Like this what makes this is the script.
I agree.
And we can talk about the creature effects, which I think are surprisingly good for the
budget,
$4.5 million budget that they had. Yeah. You can talk about the genuine spookaroo scariness. You know, it's like a proper scary movie.
I think
especially
so.
near the end. You can talk about like the teen lingo that kind of works, or the clear stakes that we set up in Ginger going through this, and then her sister, you know, having to try to save her, and it being the line blurred between her just discovering her sexuality, but also like just being a wolf and stuff like that. But
yes,
it all comes together on this great script that is super tight. And if the movie slows down at all, in my opinion, it's when the characters aren't talking. Near the end of the film, we have to look. We promised a werewolf. We've got to try to pay off on this and get one.
Right.
And they start dealing with Ginger transformed, and those are like I don't know. It kind of drags
a little bit.
When we're driving around here, we're driving around there. We got to do this. We got to do that. We got to go to the party. We got to, Ginger's gonna go after the guy, and all. It's I mean, it's action, but it's not as interesting as the characters bouncing off of each other, interacting, the dialogue.
I would agree with that. I think that it's especially so towards the end to kind of get Ginger to come with her so she can so B and Sam have come up with some sort of concoction that apparently actually works in reverting the lycanthropy or werewolfism and lycanthropy it's what is the name of the flower? It's like the scientific name of the flower is it's like wolf something or other. It's like I know this is great.
I didn't hear a question mark.
I asked a question. What is the name of the flower?
It's great. Now I'm not gonna forget. It's aconite, but it's a monkshood.
Monkshood.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so her like it only grows in spring, but her mom has a collection of dried flowers. Her mom's kind of crafty, I guess. We see dried flowers.
Yeah, she went to
kind of
Michael's
the
and they
background.
had, she picked up some monkshood.
So they make a concoction out of that, and Ginger had slept with like this one other guy.
I know that you would find a way to extend your quote unquote synopsis.
What?
You're just going scene by scene now. Come on.
Okay, sorry. I just think it's interesting that they came up with a concoction to reverse it and everything, but to get her to get to the house where she could get some more, she had to slice her both her hands and kind of become a werewolf herself. So then we're dealing with that. But the scene in the basement after
I thought that was a step too far.
You think so?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are we tracking that?
It's one other thing to track.
It's not, I mean, Bee is smart and capable, but she is like an 80-pound girl. So I would believe that we're going to need Sam or somebody to team up on Ginger. And they kind of add the twist of, oh, I can't feel my hand or whatever. But it's never, later on, she's chasing you all over the place and you're fine. Like, it doesn't.
True.
I don't know why. We don't really need to, like, keep tracking that, I don't think.
No, I think like after Sam gets attacked, like Bee like is like trying to eat some of his blood, so like to appease Ginger, and that was like a scene where there wasn't any dialogue, and I didn't really need that, but
well, it's really because
yeah, but there was a good point in that where she's like, I can't do it.
Yeah, that's why it's important.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah. So,
but if we had werewolfed her earlier, so that like a hunger for blood, like we see in Ginger, would be present, maybe it would make sense. It would be a stronger choice for her to say that she's going to break this promise, this out of the scene or whatever, or just drop it, or we don't need it. Because once Ginger is a werewolf, which we just watched Near Dark, they don't say werewolf in the film.
No.
Right?
No. They say lycanthrope.
Right, but
yeah.
Right, which means werewolf. But I'm just saying they don't.
But yeah, the same sort of thing.
I'm sure that conversations were had about Near Dark when they were writing the script, and like how Near Dark doesn't say vampires and just sort of deals with the realities of having to be a vampire. And there's a lot of taping your tail down for gym class in this. Like they're way more interested with the practical facts of living as a werewolf.
Yes.
But let's cut apart this script that I said I liked a whole lot. I do think that it's paunchy at the end because, you've got like once Ginger is going to probably kill you anyway and can't talk, then how do you have the debate over you betraying me? You're supposed to be this awesome werewolf as well. Which, on another show of ours, you complained that a lion had boobs. Well, wolf boobs.
Yeah. Well,
how's that work? And so I don't know. Maybe they were trying to pay that off by they have to do it through action. So she has to try to drink the blood, even though nobody told her to. She just, I guess, assumed that's.
We're showing it instead
I've spent so much more time on this than I really want to. I don't want to talk about this anymore. Oh, doesn't matter.
Oh, okay,
it's fine.
All right.
I don't like the ending. The ending's bad.
I'm not in love with it either. I mean,
it's like you wanted to set up a funny high school movie about a girl becoming a werewolf, or maybe it's just her period or whatever. That's okay. And then you wanted to turn it into a horror movie, so how are you going to end it?
Yeah.
You're not.
It's a totally bummer ending.
No, I'm fine with it being a bummer. I just don't think, like, thematically it pays off. Because there's an open, because there's not an open question. The movie doesn't lead you to the theme of kids are dumb.
No.
And kids make dumb promises, about what they're going to do.
No, it doesn't at all.
Cross your heart, hope to die, stick a needle in your eye.
Right.
Ooh, then she could have like stabbed her in the eye with a syringe trying to get it, and she stuck a needle in her eye. And it doesn't. It just kind of drops all that. And I think that it's like, yeah, it's not very poetic. It's not very lyrical. You couldn't find some way to sort of wrap it up rather than just, just Ginger dying and.
Well, and like, I was thinking about this too.
And then they pan over all the
photos
fake
of them dead
videos and their little tchotchkes and stuff like that. And it's like, what's that supposed to do?
Like, this is her fantasy. This is her dream.
She wanted this?
Yeah.
No, I mean, does that satisfy you?
No, it doesn't.
Why'd you say it then?
I'm just trying
It's
to
the first thing you thought of.
hypothesize over what they were thinking.
Yeah, better hypothesis.
Well, but... So I was wondering, like, why, like, when she dies, does she not, like, revert back to human? But then I was thinking about the werewolf.
How do you know she doesn't?
I guess I don't.
The movie just ends.
It ends. But, like, I was thinking
Have you seen
about...
the sequel?
I have not.
Okay.
But when we see the werewolf from the beginning get hit by Sam's van, he, runs into it and it goes everywhere and it stays wolf parts, So I was thinking that's why they kept her a wolf, at least from what we saw, even though she was dying and then dead. What are we supposed to take with, like, from B, like, breaking her promise? Like, she's like, I'm not going to die in this room with you. Like, I can't do this. Like.
I don't know. I mean, I'm more interested in, the title character and see, we're wired, not tired. We're wired, even though we're tired. Mm-hmm. And I think flatness of Ginger as a character. Ginger is a textbook kind of two-dimensional disaffected teen.
Yeah. Until
she is bitten by a werewolf and given supernatural urges.
Yeah.
So for the middle part of the movie, she's just like, now she's a bitch, she's a lover.
Yeah,
she can now do the things that she didn't think she could do before, and then she's just, a villain, a monster at the end of the film.
Right.
And so, like, who's Ginger?
You mean who's B?
No, who is Ginger?
Oh, who is Ginger?
Really? She has to serve the plot completely.
No,
and
you're
B
right.
is the only, like, real person that we get to see. Now, part of, Ginger's problem is that she's literally, has a supernatural thirst for blood.
Yes.
That she can't help. But, we have to look at the human character to see the human, like, reaction to this.
Right.
And I think the human reaction is, I'm not doing that. Are you crazy?
Well, yeah, right.
I mean, there's the more surface thing of, like, all right, all you goth chicks out there, you can, say that your pain is eternal and you want to die and get your life journal out, but, like, really, you want to live, right?
Right.
And that's a very overly simplistic kind of thing. But we're wired.
Yeah.
We're going deeper.
I mean, I think also part of it is like be like there are things like, okay, so it escalates, right? Like, and like B sees it go to a place where it's like a line has been crossed and she's like, I can't deal with this anymore. Like Ginger kills the really nice janitor guy.
Yeah.
Who is just nothing but helpful and
nothing
nice to be.
Nothing but a threshold for Ginger to cross.
Right.
It's not really,
well, that's
not really
true.
A character.
He was not a fully realized character, fair.
Yeah.
But it just was like, oh, well, this is too much. But she still wants to help her. She never gives up on helping her.
Right.
I think is
Ginger just self-destructive? She's somebody can't save her. If she hadn't been bit by a werewolf, she would definitely have started sleeping with a college student and dropped out of high school and just had no future.
I mean, it's possible. I kind of get the feeling that even though like they both were obsessed with death, right, and like taking these pictures and they made this oath, I get the feeling.
Great art design, by the way.
Yeah,
like that whole part.
That was cool.
Was like a separate thing almost.
Yeah,
because the rest of the movie is well done, but pretty stock standard. Canadian TV show.
Yeah.
But that part was like, wow, you're really kicking it up a notch. No, that's just for the beginning. Okay. Well, anyway, it was cool.
Right. But I get the feeling that Ginger, like, really would have gone through with, like, the whole killing themselves pact. You know, and she's, like, months away from her 16-year-old birthday. So, like...
Her 16-year-old's birthday?
Her 16th...
Is there another character?
Sorry. Her 16th birthday.
Yeah.
I can't talk. So it would have, you know, that she would have, you know, they would have had to have crossing that threshold or not within a couple of months anyways. This just sped everything up. But I don't know. Like, we don't really get to know the characters a whole lot before she gets bitten. We just know that they're, you know, they're obsessed with death and everything, and the bee basically just does whatever Ginger does. At least that's their mom's point of view.
Mm-hmm. Their mom, who is she to blame in this? Because
I think she's at least partially to blame. Yeah,
we talk about. I mean, the whole movie is slightly heightened.
Yeah,
in reality, especially in the case of Ginger's erstwhile boyfriend or conquest, Jason, who, when Ginger has fangs and a tail and is drinking blood, it's scary. When Jason's doing it, it's like it's like goofy, Dutch angled, you know.
I know. He's like almost attacking
He's a funny werewolf.
A kid who's like dressed up as a dog for Halloween.
What do you think about
like, seriously?
Always escalating, right?
Yeah.
Chihuahua, right? Then a mastiff, and then a 10-year-old in a dog costume.
Right.
That's we all know that Chihuahua is a gateway drug to eating kids in Halloween costumes. What do you think about? Okay, so oh boy, all right. So we got our points here. Let's go back and compliment Mimi Rogers. For I don't think I've ever seen her play like Dottie Mom before, but she does it well.
She does, and
they had a clear sense of who that character was. It's a good joke, but it has implications which we are currently unpacking.
Yes,
the idea of her, like, you know, when Ginger's they killed Trina, right, and then she's like talking to Bee, and she's like, you know. Oh, no, Ginger likes the fact that you let us figure things out for ourselves.
Yeah.
She's like, oh, I was wondering how that approach was going.
I know!
But then at the end of the movie, once we reach the, you know, everything's goofy third act, she's like, I found, you know, Trina. She's, you know, you buried her in the shed. It's all my fault.
Yeah.
Let's go home. I'm going to burn the house down and we're going to start over.
I know it. And then Bee's like, what about Dad? And she was like, he would just blame me for everything.
Well, this is not a movie about men. It's a movie about women.
I know.
So I'm fine with that.
I'm fine with it too.
But, you know, is this like what happens when you take out the father in Teen Wolf who's like, yeah, we're werewolves. You know, they didn't go with like, oh, we are werewolves or whatever. You know, instead the mom's just like, the mom kind of has like she's a werewolf at heart maybe or something. Because we get that the sisters are dedicated to each other. Like, I mean, I know they're sisters, but they're like willing to kill themselves for each other.
Yes.
And we see in the mom as well, like this and
dedication.
not being a daughter to a mom or having a daughter. I don't know what you thought about that depiction of, like, you know, the homicidal limits of your devotion to your daughter or your mother.
Well, I think she's clearly she's a very dedicated mom. But with a kind of a weird standoffish approach, and she you know, this is her solution.
Would you kill somebody for your family?
I don't think that I would.
I think that here's what let me just get to it, even though I was trying to give you a chance to say something. I think that it's just to give Mimi something to do.
I think so too.
Yeah, and I think that's bad. I think it's the kind of thing that you laugh at, and then you think about later, and you go, that wasn't really real. That didn't make. There's real stakes here. Like, is this
Like,
this
it's
is your reaction to it?
refrigerator moment or what have you.
Icebox, but yeah,
icebox. Yeah.
There is a woman in a refrigerator in this.
Yes,
and it's not for the usual reasons.
No.
Although she did die in the usual thriller kind of way, which
She
I
did.
complain about all the time. She slipped and hit her head.
Yep.
She was holding a knife.
She
At
was
least
holding
have
a
her
knife.
fall on the knife or something.
I know, right?
Another shot for gore. And also, it's not just that thing where, oh, that happens in the thriller where the lover and her husband are arguing, and then, you know, the boyfriend comes in and goes, "You get out of here," and he pushes him, and the father hits his head on the mantelpiece.
Yep.
I've hit my head on a mantelpiece, still here.
I know.
So don't tell me that's how people always
That's
die.
an instant death. I know. Yeah, it's a little disappointing that that's in there because it's a little it seems like an easy way to kill a character.
It's hard to balance, and this is just a fun, cheap, low-budget Canadian horror movie, but they were really getting into something, and I think they pull up short, maybe because it's time to be horror, we have to be scary, or we have to be funny, and I felt like this isn't going to change anybody's life, but I thought that they stared into the abyss, and the abyss stared back, and they blinked.
I think you're right. I think if she had fallen on the knife...
No,
it
not
would've-
that.
Oh, okay.
No, I mean the fact that
else.
they are exploring the relationship. Jesus Christ, they're talking about the relationships between. Am I? You don't care. This is a feminist horror film, and you don't care about the feminist elements of it. So at some point, I'm just a weirdo for wanting to talk about the feminist elements. If it's not interesting to you, right?
It is interesting to me.
Okay, well,
it's absolutely interesting.
But I'm saying, like, without quote unquote selling out those elements, they bring them up, and I don't think that they complete them. I don't think they go all the way with it.
Well, what is a way that you think they could have gone further with that?
Not further. I mean, just done better by them, because we have not seen a female. Well, there was a cable show for a while where a girl turned into a werewolf, but it was just like a USA show or something like that.
Right.
So I doubt that they were getting into this, but Ginger lays it out for us when Ginger is sort of the mouthpiece of the feminist ideas in the film. You know, she says specifically, because we see her take her first steps as, you know, a woman in high school, you know, as a girl who's not just in a huge baggy sweater,
right,
and is smoking, you know, by herself on the field hockey field. Like, she is entering the she's all the girls in Euphoria.
Right.
You know, she is entering the high school, you know, through the door they want her to.
Right.
Which is she dresses up, and it's like, woo, and it's like, hey, Ginger, you want to go out? I don't know, Ted.
Yeah,
and she's playing the role, and she's completely and utterly unimpressed by all of it. You know, she comes back, and B is sort of like, well, what was it like? And she's
about
like,
sex, yeah.
It's, well, I mean, specifically about sex, but she also, I feel like, quizzes her on what she sees her doing, you know, hanging out, making out with Jason or whatever, or getting out there, fighting with Trina or whatever. And she comes back and she says, you know, that you can be a slut, a bitch, a tease, or the girl next door.
Yeah,
you can't. That's all that you can do in this world.
That's all. Those are the only.
And it doesn't
roles
stop
you
her
can
from
play.
entering the world, but she's really depressed about that. And I feel
It's
like
depressing.
how many young girls have had that exact same thought, maybe not consciously, but have felt those emotions. And her resignation to the thing is that she says that she's going to coast on how the world works. That's her response to it. Her response is to just accept the roles that society has laid out for her. But later, she tries to seduce a drug dealer, and they hit her in the head with a shovel. Like, I know it's a horror movie, and we're not going to have a talking conclusion to this. This isn't My Dinner with Ginger. Would have been a great show title. It's too late. But I don't know. I'm here to see a scary doll. Don't make me think about stuff and then go, no, that's off the menu, though. You know, I smell like this steak cooking, and then you give me a cheeseburger, and it's like, it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, like you're saying that you feel like it set the table well for this interesting discussion and exploration on what is the roles of being a woman in society.
It is exploring it.
Yeah,
it's just not like, because good horror, in my opinion, and good sci-fi is not about an alien or a monster. It's about what it is. It's about what it represents. We just saw an episode of Enterprise where T'Pol is a Vulcan who has a brain disease that she got from a mind meld, and the metaphor is not subtle. It's AIDS. She's got brain AIDS.
Yeah. Right.
And it causes discrimination, and there is a certain type, there's a certain like genetic subset, however that works, of Klingons or Vulcans, who are the only ones that get it, or they are more likely to get it.
Yeah.
And at one point, a guy has to basically out himself as being one of those guys, and it causes discrimination for him, and he loses his job. And it's like, that's what I'm into.
Yeah.
I can totally relax and watch Jason punch people's heads off and they go into the dumpster 2 points. Although you could argue that is a criticism of the commercialism of New York. Jason Takes Manhattan. But anyway, but I feel like this movie is like, it's not toying with that like Jason Takes Manhattan does. It's literally doing it.
It is.
And then halfway, to use a sexual metaphor, 2/3 of the way through, it just stands up and zips its pants up, and that's it. And you're like, what? You didn't expect any of this?
No, I don't know.
I didn't try to ambush you. I said that we were going to be going wired and not just tired.
I know. Do you think that there were any, besides quote unquote curing Ginger, are there any ways that she could have been able to, like, I think she's fine with being a werewolf. B is not fine with Ginger being a werewolf. Is there any way that they could have lived together?
Do you think she's fine with being a werewolf?
Well, I think she's more okay with it than B is. I think maybe she doesn't love it.
I think
but
that
she's kind of embraced it.
But the werewolf is and this is, a scary creature, I guess, and the limitations of whatever animatronics you have. But the werewolf is a constant scowl. And it isn't like, once I've killed this drug dealer that I think wants to, bed my 15-year-old sister. What's up, Twister? Got a Frisbee?
No, I know.
Like, she is still furious, and she and her paranoia has turned onto her sister, who she is ostensibly protecting, and basically her sister has to kill her in self-defense. I know. Like, she's lashing out at everybody. And I think that it is a metaphor for, a girl who is already strong-willed. Excuse me?
Being a teen.
But being a girl teen. Being a teenage girl. And we've already seen that she's a person who, even before she entered the kind of sexual realm of being an adult or a teenager, she wanted out of this. And she bridled against the restrictions that they put on you. I mean, she's a kid in suburban Canada. They're going to make her to play field hockey for 45 minutes. What are her real problems? And now she is being forced. She says herself, that she's lived her whole life trying to be different, and then her body betrays her, and she thinks she's talking about
menstruation,
puberty and becoming a woman. But then we get the werewolf thing too.
Yeah.
And so I think that she's angry about everything. I think she's angry about the whole thing. It's all disappointing to her.
Yeah. Yeah. No. I see your point.
And all those cargo pants.
All those cargo pants?
She wishes she could live in a decade that didn't love cargo pants so much.
I mean, but is there, without the getting injected with the stuff, is there a happy ending for Ginger?
I think if it's a this is the era of 9 Inch Nails and and David Fincher movies.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a happy ending period. I think the way that you set the story up, because that puts the point on the satire, the exclamation point, right? Mm-hmm. If you can just plug her with a thing and then she turns back into like a sexy teen, then what was the point of any of the things that you tried to say?
Yeah. I suppose.
Like maybe she could run off into the woods, sirens slowly approaching, and she raises a paw and B raises a paw. And, I mean, you wouldn't believe that, right?
No, I wouldn't believe that.
Yeah. Despite all her rage, she's still a girl that lives in an unfinished basement.
Which I feel like they chose to live down there, right? Like, because it just kind of fits their aesthetic.
Mimi Rogers let them live down there.
Yeah.
She's trying to let them figure it out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. How has their mom is totally okay with them doing these photos of death and everything too.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how they hide Trina's death, because Ginger lays in the actual blood and says that it's corn syrup. So that was kind of cool. I'm trying to think of so there's no happy ending for them. It's depressing that B has the syringe in one hand and a knife in the other, and it's the knife that Ginger gets. But like you said, maybe there's just no other way to end it. I mean, what do you think would have been a more satisfactory ending?
No, you've already asked me that.
Oh, sorry.
You just reworded the question.
Okay.
Tell me what you want me to say. What's your satisfactory ending?
I don't know. I feel like Ginger has killed just about everybody who's wronged her, except for, I don't know, maybe she feels like her parents have wronged her and she hasn't killed them and she hasn't killed B, but I don't want that, and I don't know.
Well, I don't know either. It's unsatisfying, and we're not screenwriters, and so as critics and as just humans with eyeballs and brains, we can watch something and go, I just didn't get it, I don't know what to tell you, and I don't have to tell you. I'm just not satisfied by that. I think it ends too abruptly, and like I said, I can imagine a script in which the feminist ideas are dealt with in a more either explicit or subtle way, going to the end, instead of just going, well, she's just a monster now.
Well, how do you think B and her mom reconcile what happens?
I don't know. That's a good question. That would, whether or not they show us, I would be satisfied to know that B was transformed from this and would go forward in a different way. Right. And we are not given that suggestion. It just ends very abruptly. And in the second film, which I have seen, it does not address that. Okay. She's there, but it isn't that she's a different kind of character for having gone through this, which is what you want out of your characters in films who experience things like this, right?
Right. You would think, well, maybe I was obsessed with death before, but having experienced a lot of it now, I'm going to try to live my life in a different way.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't try to codify it that sharply.
Okay,
But sure. Joseph Campbell's shaking his head. shaking his skull.
Shaking his skull. Okay.
Like we watched The Loveless. Mm-hmm. And in The Loveless, you argued that Willem Dafoe is the main character, but I argued that in terms of the film's climax, the girl, the daughter of the guy, would be the main thematic character, because she's the one who is affected by, the person that she meets. She chooses to do something. It's not a happy ending, but no. And Willem Dafoe is simply there as the observer. He's the guy that's like, wow, well, all right. And he's not really changed at all. Mm-hmm. He's going nowhere. Right. Fast.
Yeah, that's true.
And I hate the fact that we see that B take so much responsibility and really learn that a lot of the things that they worried about were bullshit. You know what I mean? It's yeah. Field hockey, screw that. My sister's a werewolf.
I know. Right?
but it doesn't, I don't know. There's one more scene that is something at the end. You know what I mean?
Do you think, I don't know if B would actually...
Spider-Man. I can't believe it.
You're bringing up Spider-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. What about him?
Right? The climactic scene, speaking of Willem Dafoe,
Yeah.
he confronts Spidey. Spidey, it's a bad climax. Sorry, Stan. But Spidey jumps out of the way and the goblin impales himself on his own glider. And for Spidey, at that time in the comics, it's more like, wow, like the world that I have chosen has consequences that I was unaware of. I didn't know when I pulled a mask on and decided to make fun of burglars until until the cops showed up, that my best friend's father would be trying to kill me.
Right.
After having killed my girlfriend.
Right.
Now, put that in the movie. In the last scene of the movie, they go to Norman's funeral, and we see the aftermath of everything. And Peter, is talking to Harry, and Harry's like, I'm going to get that goddamn Spider-Man, but you, Peter, you've always been there. Thank God for you, Peter Parker. You've always been there for me. Mm-hmm. And Peter, knows, Harry doesn't know that Harry both loves and hates Peter.
Right.
And then he goes to MJ, and she's like, oh, well, thank God this menace is over, but we can finally be together. And Peter's like, oh, we can't be together.
Right.
I just can't. He wants to, but he's already seen somebody that he cared about die because of what happened. And so he knows that they can't be together. They absolutely can't. And she can't understand it at all. And he has to walk away.
Without explaining it.
He won, and his entire life is in shambles.
Yeah.
And he's going to have to deal with that going forward.
Mm-hmm.
Or...
The
Wolf
animatronic
ribcage going
wolf
up and
cage
down.
going up and
Stops.
down. Yeah, I know.
Spooky music. It's over.
I know.
It's just a little unsatisfying. And you can write a better script than Sam Raimi. Come on, this is Sam Raimi.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that it's like the girls are like their own best friends. They're sisters, but they're like friends and everything. We don't really talk a lot about.
It's not healthy.
Well, it's not necessarily unhealthy, but
it's unhealthy because they don't have any other friends.
They don't have any other friends, and we don't.
But then again, we are presented with nobody in the school that they could be friends with.
No,
everybody is
a horrible
caricature of a bad teenager.
Well, but I think it's interesting for a film that speaks so much about feminine values and everything. It doesn't really focus on feminine friendship outside of the two sisters. So it's not like. Yeah. Found friendship or what have you between women.
I mean, the nature of okay, so I'm just saying objectively for a human being it's not healthy. I think for the film it works because they're going to have this insular problem that they're going to end up dealing with by themselves. I mean, who would they go to? But
yeah, I know.
And so, there's no point in having any other friends. This is a streamlined kind of cast. We've got just enough people to get to move the action forward, and I like the fact that they are the like the Grey Gardens ladies or something like that. Like they're just
yeah, no, that's true.
Just with each other. What did you think about? Here's something that we could explore. I'm surprised that they didn't make a sequel that was just followed Jason and there were no girls because vampires is cool.
Or werewolves.
They take this thing that they. That they associate strongly with, and we never see the Beast of Bailey Downs gets taken out pretty quick by that van, Ford van, and so we don't even see if it's got boobs or not. So we don't know if this is, if it was a girl werewolf or something, but it's associated with, they call their period the curse, and there's this curse of lycanthropy. It seems like a feminine thing, but you can give it to a dude.
Yep.
And the dude's got it.
Yeah.
Did you think that was a splitting, a bifurcating of their intent, where maybe they should have just stuck with this is a girl thing?
That's an interesting point. Maybe I feel like there was a throwaway line that Sam said about a circumcised human
that's
penis.
right. That's right.
With the werewolf.
Okay,
that he
so
killed.
it was a guy.
So I think it was a guy. But they could have made it. They could have chose to make it a
weird
woman.
line.
Yeah, I know.
Because it could have been completely sexually. It could have been ambiguous, like
Yeah.
I thought it was.
Yeah.
But now it was a guy.
It was a guy, which is
So
weird.
a guy inflicts
Yeah, I don't really like
being
that
a woman on a
connotation.
girl.
Well, I mean,
Now it seems like an abuse metaphor.
it almost does, doesn't it? But I mean, technically she got her period like right before she got bitten.
That's something
But-
else I was going to say. Is there only one beast? Like, is there a Ginger Snaps 0, or is there a Judy Snaps? Is there like a? Has this happened to other people? Because
It
the
must
movie
have,
opens
right?
and there's a spate of dog killings, and so
Yeah.
we know that there's. But
Something
everybody
out
comes
there.
up with this beast of. Maybe it's just the way that the casualness with which they talk about the Beast of Bailey Downs made me feel like it had something that had been around for a while. Do you know what I mean? Like this is not a town knowing a dog in. It's headcanon. It's headcanon.
But the thing that
And
was
so, like,
weird
nobody
to me,
had ever, cut their finger or scraped their knee on the swing set,
Right.
or had their period before,
Right.
near a woods,
right? That
Like,
seems a little hard.
I know,
to
like, it has
believe.
to happen so we can have a movie, but-
Right. But another thing that was established within the world of the movie, which I didn't understand, is like, so there's this beast going around killing dogs, and yet families are leaving their dogs outside.
Well, all right.
I know we have to
What
have
a
a
plot
movie.
hole! Ding,
but-
got him.
well, and then we see the decapitated dog that was like a Rottweiler or a Doberman, and like
Yeah.
Trina has the same kind of dog. Anyways,
As long as we're going through our list of notes, let's do an Ella and say the good things.
I liked the sisters. I like what? I like the makeup. I thought the makeup was interesting that we see at the end, and people, because it's Halloween, which coincides with a full moon, people think that it's like Ginger's like Halloween costume.
Yeah. We never really, throughout the movie, Ginger has, I had him for a costume once, these gigantic novelty fingernails.
Yep.
And an extra set of teeth, and nobody says anything.
And gray hair streaks.
And we set up that the girls are weird. So I'm not like, it doesn't break the movie or anything like that.
No.
But this is a movie where people have to be a little less
dense.
observant than people usually are.
Yeah. Let's see what else. I liked that we had a friendly, helpful drug dealer that also knows a lot about plants. I liked their mom and how ridiculous she was, and that she looks like the kind of like the mom that helps out with like school projects and like stuff like that, like all the time. And she has like these different sweaters for like the different like seasons and stuff like that. And like, it's like everybody knows a couple, grew up with a couple people who have moms like that, so it's, I know it's a, it's maybe a stereotype or a trope, but it does happen in real life. But I mean, it was funny having that, and then also having her be so hands off. You know what I mean? Because like I feel like it's somebody who has like clothes like that, like they're somebody who wants to be involved with their kids.
I don't think that, since these aren't real people, there isn't a psychology to delve into. But I think that you could delve into do what I said you couldn't, into the psychology of the film. That this is for people in a house who are all living their own lives, and I don't think it's uncommon. The mom and dad have their own pursuits, and the dad seems very detached, from what's going on, and the daughters have completely withdrawn into literally into the basement, the ground, and they spend B and Ginger spend all their time together, but B is basically just following Ginger's lead on everything and looking to her to what to do. And then, of course, once she becomes a werewolf, then B's off doing her own thing. So it's like this is a fractured family.
Yes, that's true.
So it makes total sense to me that the mom would thrust herself into the pursuits of flower arrangements and making bundt cakes and doing all this stuff.
What are a couple things that you like?
I think it's not exciting, it's not sexy, but just it's well shot. Like it's just there are some very there's little I don't know. Whenever I see a Dutch angle, I'm like, we can do more than that, right? This isn't the 50s or whatever, but they're used effectively. There was some great, just sort of great editing. This was nominated for an award for editing. I think the editing really helps everything snap and go together. And this is just some creative kind of setups and scenes. There's a couple scenes that are heightened. The comedy is heightened, I think, or the effect is heightened by the cinematography when they first figure out, oh, we're going to need like feminine products here, and they go to the supermarket. We just like smash cut to low angle of the tampon aisle, and little B is looking up at this huge wall of light blue and purple boxes, and she's just like, I don't know.
I know. And she was like,
look at this one
comes with a calendar.
It's got a calendar. It's super absorbent or whatever. Yeah. I thought that was really great. I also liked when they get sent, they go to the nurse. We got to go to the nurse.
Yeah,
this is a geyser. And she's like, it's going to seem like a lot of blood. Like everything that they say, she's just like, yep, that's a thing. Yep. What about like hair and body changes? Oh, yeah, that's a thing.
I know.
And then she goes through the list of symptoms of just, estrus or whatever. And Ginger just has this look on her face like she's not happy because they know that they were attacked, but they don't know. They're not thinking werewolf. They don't know about that, and so she's just describing the normal human things that will happen to you as you get older, young girl. Puberty, and she just looks like it's like you're gonna have
horrified.
Yeah, a horn is gonna come out of your head or something like that. Like she's just horrified by these very normal things that the girl's saying. I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, that was pretty good.
I like Ginger's characterization in that she is going to, and they've done entire full other horror movies about women getting some weird power or something, and it's all about how they're gonna turn the tables on the men.
Sure.
We've got that. It's not the whole film, but we've got that in this film. You've got the typical. They had the scene like a couple times in Euphoria, where it's the scene where I walk in at the end of the hallway, the double doors of the crash bar, it closes, and everybody's in the hallway, and then it's the strut scene. I'm going to go down the hallway.
Yeah, right.
And so Ginger's going down the hallway, and everybody's like, woo, and the girl's like, skank. And it's like, oh,
yeah. I know, right.
It's kind of like she's, 2 weeks ago, Ginger would have thought, well, get up on the buffet table, because you're being served. But it's more like she's shopping, it's like, who am I going to devour here?
Yes.
Like they don't know what they're cheering for the lion at this point.
She's owning it. She's owning her power. She's
well, it's empowerment, but it's also she's a murderer.
No, you're right. That's why I thought like there's a part of her, so maybe she doesn't really like being a werewolf, but there's a part of her that has embraced the power and confidence that comes along with it.
Sure, yeah, she loves that.
Yeah.
And she got boobs over the summer, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
But she's in the back seat with Jason, and they're making out, and her stomach growls. And he's like, "What's that?" She's like, "Oh, it's just my stomach."
I know.
I thought that was really great.
I thought it was great,
But like I said, it's so good that other movies have made that the whole movie, but it's just one part of this movie.
I kind of... I mean... I wish that, like, maybe her and B could have had more of a resolution between the two of them. With just their relation, so it wouldn't have ended the way that it did. But so that's a little frustrating. But I guess we get there's two other movies which I haven't seen, but no, doesn't really go into that at all.
They're not great.
Okay, all right.
They're not great.
I wish they were.
I don't know why there are two other movies, because this movie made like $500,000 tops, but a lot of that was I guess, problems over distribution or just also it just being a niche Canadian horror film. But they did make 2 more. One is a continuation of the story, and Ginger is a ghost. Which is like,
wondering how they were going to do that.
Okay, I know that werewolves are real, but we really hit hard that it's something biological, or it's, we cut to a science class and we're watching the video about, the virus takes over other cells.
Yeah, and it devours them.
And it doesn't matter, but it's like, okay, we get it.
Yeah.
Although you're mixing your metaphors, shouldn't they be watching, like the hormones cause changes throughout the body or something like that? Should be in sex ed.
Yeah, I know. I think you're right.
But anyway, or maybe they're watching an STD film. I don't know. And then the third movie is a prequel set in old-timey days.
Like, how
it's
did
like the beginning of the legend of the Beast of Bailey Downs.
So were they their great, however many great ancestors?
Yeah, it's like they're reincarnated or something like that.
But then that's almost like
so now there's ghosts and reincarnation. Which is it, film?
Yeah, then they're almost saying like they inherited it somehow or something like that, which is weird.
Right, which is pretty explicitly not what it is. Although they've always been weird. Like they, I mean, the actresses are, 18 and 17 or whatever they were, but they are a 16 and a 15-year-old girl who outwardly look normal, but they haven't begun menstruating, which I guess could happen, but it does, when you point that out on a film, it does seem, weird. Yeah. Although you couldn't really make this movie with, like, 12-year-old girls.
No. I read somewhere that the actress who plays Bee was, like, 22 when they filmed this, and she was actually...
that's right. She's older. That's right. Yeah.
than Ginger, but played the younger sister.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen Catherine Isabelle has gone on to a solid, if undistinguished, career. She's done a lot of spooky stuff. It's kind of stayed in that lane. Yeah. And then the other one, I've seen every once in a while.
Perkins or something like that?
Every once in a while, you'll see her. She'll pop up on a show that's shot in Canada or something like that. So it's B from.
I think I think I saw somewhere she was in the original It. I don't know how large of a role she had or who she played, but she was in It.
Really?
Yeah.
82. She could have been one of the original losers?
Maybe. I don't know.
Huh.
So, anyways, that was just when I looked at her filmography, that was something that stuck out for some reason. So,
I guess it would.
Yeah.
Would you recommend this?
Yeah, I absolutely would recommend it. I think it's a really good film. Probably underrated. Let's get people talking about it.
It's like 80% on Rotten Tomatoes.
All right.
Do you mean
underappreciated
in people's conversations?
Yes.
About thoughtful horror?
Yes.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
All right.
Yeah. Would you recommend it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Look, man, just because I, complain about how it could be better doesn't mean I don't like it.
No.
If love and hate are not opposites.
I know.
The reason I love it so much, and I've seen it, I think I've seen it 50 times. This is one of the first DVDs that I owned, playing in my original, my PS2, when it was just, the widescreen's on the front side and the the pan and scans on the back.
Right.
In the paper case. So,
right,
yeah, I've seen this
right?
so many times. And, like anything that you've seen a lot and think about a lot, you think about ways that it could be better, but you also, it's great.
Should we also mention that it was recently announced, I think within the last week, that there's going to be a TV show based on the Ginger Snaps. I don't know if it's all 3 films or at least the first film, following the 2 sisters, and have a similar. I'm sure we'll expand upon the story, obviously. And the fact that it's the sisters makes it difficult, you'd think, for it to be. It won't involve. I mean, Catherine Isabelle could play the mom or something like that. Although Catherine Isabelle does not look like a mom. She looks exactly the same. Yeah, right.
Aging in reverse, as they say. I'm kind of excited about it. It's produced by the people that do Killing Eve, but it's not Phoebe Waller-Bridge or anything like that.
No.
And I'm unfamiliar with the girl that'll be writing it, but I think it's good that a girl's writing it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I think that you could we could add some more characters and maybe have hopefully play out some of these things that I felt like were not given justice in the film. We can play them out a little more with a longer format.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm interested to see what they're going to do with it and how they're going to expand upon this world. And, I would like for it to go more than one season and like for it to go explore past Ginger is a werewolf and it's the first full moon. I'd like to see it get past that. You know what I mean? Like, what do we do? How do we deal with it? I don't know. I don't know how
it's not
it'll
a
be
Halloween
a challenge.
Movie.
No,
this is literally a Halloween movie.
Yeah, I know.
Because it
happens on Halloween.
It happens on Halloween.
Yeah.
And the guy, what's his name, Fawcett or whatever, has already said like, oh yeah, I feel like this is the perfect follow up to Orphan Black for me. And it's like, hand up over here.
Yeah, right.
Don't Orphan Black this, please. I mean, this doesn't have a clone gimmick.
No.
But don't drown this in all your half-baked ideas.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Like, just say we've got, I don't know how many episodes per season, but like, let's say 3 seasons. And if you get more, great.
Right.
But let's try to land this. Let's try to have a point. Let's try to get there and not let it just run out like Orphan Black did.
The first season of Orphan Black was like excellent, and I don't remember where it went off the rails for me, if it was somewhere in season 2 or season 3, but like the
6th clone showed up.
Yeah, right. It just was. It just got to the point where it got. I know it's science fiction and everything, but it just got ridiculous, and like you can stretch your suspension of disbelief so far, but it was just kind of like, what is this world that we're watching right now? I don't get it.
Yeah.
So, anyways.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, don't do that, but do go see or rent or buy Ginger Snaps. It's a spooky film, but I think you can watch it at any time of the year, and it raises a lot of great questions, and it's a great exploration of stuff that is not explored enough.
Yes.
Things are changing a little bit. We're seeing more female-led horror and sci-fi, but go see a great gem from the early days of wanting to do that. All right, well, see, we did it.
We did it.
Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a great movie.
No, we're done talking about the movie.
Oh, okay. All right. I'm a little sad. that
going back to the movie.
I'm sorry. I'm a little sad that all right, stop laughing over there.
Oh.
I'm a little sad that Halloween is over. I do like spooky season and talking about scary stuff. More than I used to. I didn't used to like horror films that much. So, anyways.
I guess.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't... Or you can? People went trick-or-treating, right?
I think in, like, a modified
In fact, I know
way.
they did. I went to the store last night, and as I was coming back, there was a kid, probably 17, 18, by himself, just walking around in a bag, and he went to a house near mine, and they just had candy up, like clothespinned to like a clothesline.
Sure, that's cute.
And I'm like, oh, right, come on.
I know. Why are you doing this when you're? Yeah, all right.
Just buy candy.
Just buy candy
with the money you got from your job.
Just buy a bag of fun-sized
candy.
Costume. Oh, he wasn't even in costume.
Nothing that I recognize. No, he was just in clothes.
That's disappointing.
But I'm starting to realize these days that I don't recognize people's costumes. They dress up like stuff, and I don't know what it is, and it's like, okay, whatever.
No, I know.
I'm old.
I'm old too. Like if I saw a lot of like newer anime characters, I'd be like, well, I know you're an anime character, but I don't know who you are.
Right.
You know. Yeah. I know it's weird. We don't recognize things anymore. So.
Is it weird?
I think so.
Your
It's
vamping
just another. It's another process. Like you're getting older.
Here's a Halloween thought for you. Your vamping leaves something to be desired.
All right.
But that's okay. It's a work in progress. You got to work at it. Dracula wasn't Dracula overnight. It was tough for him at first.
He had to vamp it up.
Only later did he get, like, you know, his own coffin, a tiny coffin for a bee, and whatever else.
I don't know what was going on with that, but that was really funny.
Yeah. Well, anyway, cozy up to us on social media at Just Enough Trump on Facebook and Twitter, and go to your listening platform of choice to subscribe to our show if you haven't already. It's the best way to get the show. And you won't have to worry about live shows ever again after tonight, I don't think. And you can also give us a rating and a review, but maybe just skip the rating and review for now. But in the future, when you like what you hear, give us a rating and a review. Give us 5 vials full of monkhood extract, which will definitely kill you if you inject. We'll be back next week to talk about something else. And until then, we're signing off. I'm your host, Caliban.
I'm your co-host, Mika Hana.
Keep the geek fires burning.